everybody, and welcome to another episode of Raging Out in Clash. My name is Jen, and I'm here with SK.
Hi!
And
we should clarify it's because you've been giving me grief.
No.
Yeah, you've been giving me grief. About the delay of me saying hello.
Only a little bit. There was still a delay, but it wasn't 5 seconds like normal, so it was good. It's better.
Okay.
Okay, so today we are going to talk about a couple different things. We've got some notes that were released on some recent balancing changes that are going to be coming up in a mini update coming out. We've got some events going on right now. We've got a Birthday Supercell 10th anniversary thing going on, so we've got a special birthday trader as well. We did some clan promotions that we can talk about. We'll talk about our recent war and just some of the things that we experienced with the clan that we came up against. There was also a Clash of Clans kind of town hall hour video with Ano and what's his face, Darian. Kind of talking about stuff, just kind of developer stuff, and then at the end they had questions from the community and whatnot that they were talking about. So we'll just kind of cover some of the things that they touched upon near the end of that video, because the beginning was kind of just, normal stuff between them. And I don't know if I don't have a Can't Fix Stupid, so I don't know if you do. And we'll try and keep it a bit shorter today, just because we do have a war starting in the next 20 minutes, so I might get a little distracted.
A little.
But we should be okay, because, as normal, we've got our,
We have other codes that should be able to direct.
Yeah.
So, and elders too. So that's kind of a rundown. But what I also has occurred to me and what I just thought was, this is our 21st episode.
Oh, really?
Yes. So I thought it'd be nice to sort of take stock, sort of reintroduce ourselves, why we're doing this, why we play this game that's sometimes like a prison sentence. Just generally, take stock of why we play and what we like about the game and whatnot. So I'll pass it over to you first.
I think that's a good way to start, and I guess the reason I started playing was I like to do things I'm not supposed to, and I was told, don't play the game because you'll get sucked in, and well, I had to disobey and start playing. It was interesting to me in the beginning because it's a it can be a strategic game. It can be a team game where you're playing with your clan to do a war, but it's also a single player game in that you don't have to be in a clan to be successful. You can be a pusher, you can do whatever you want by yourself as well. So I thought that it was a good game for me to play. At the time I was playing a zombie shooter game, which was kind of getting boring. There wasn't a lot of updates coming out. There was some cheating going on, and it was just getting, I was getting less and less interested in it. So,
you got sucked into this game instead.
What's that?
You got sucked into this game instead.
It was something interesting, and I tried not to research anything online about it. It was just kind of, we'll start from the very beginning as a fresh spawn and see what it's all about. And I remember when I was younger, and I'm pretty sure I've seen even a commercial or two on TV about, it was either Clash of Clans or it was Boom Beach or it was something Supercell oriented, where it was a commercial on TV, and it was just like, it looked kind of interesting. So I figured why not, and ended up starting my own account and
Against advice given to you.
Against advice given to me, yeah.
So
and then, once you had kind of lightened up a little bit, you said, yeah, start your own account after I had already started one and kind of gotten a little bit of a head start. But they were, I mean, the accounts were pretty close in that, I was still learning. It was like a week or two apart, and so I was still learning. And
so you're now at Town Hall 12, and well in that sort of Town Hall life. Not max yet, but definitely not new. And have you been in any other clans?
With this account, no.
You came into this clan with...
I came into this clan as I think, what did I join as, a Town Hall 5? The first 4 Town Halls, it was like a day and a half to upgrade through. Like, it wasn't very long. Maybe 2 days. So, I mean, it wasn't very long. And then, came into the clan as a Town Hall 5 and showed my stuff and was good enough that, I was allowed to stay because I was mentored and kind of showed the ropes.
And now look at you.
7 Town Halls later, Town Hall 12, and still in the clan, and yeah.
Great. So, why do you still play? As in, what's kept your interest going? Because, like you said, 7 Town Hall later, and you're still playing the game.
Well, because each town hall, I mean, you've got new challenges. I'm just with the new defenses and whatnot, and the new strategies that you can learn with the new troops. And I mean, I'm just a competitive person, so doing whatever, it's just I want to be as good as I can, and kind of go down that road. So there's still attacks that I don't know, or I mean, I know them, but I'm not as good with them as I am with others. So it's just
the Lalo is eluding you.
Yes, it is. I keep saying every town hall, I'm going to spend some time and I'm going to learn it, but I haven't learned it. So, I don't know if it's too late to learn it at Town Hall 12 because there's so much going on. So, we'll see.
Okay.
And what about you?
So I am now at Town Hall. I'm now at maxed Town Hall 13. Well, my builders haven't finished yet, so technically I'm not maxed, but they're all working on the last defences, and once they're all finished, they will never pick up a hammer again until the next update, if even. So, fully maxed out, pretty much, I like to grind out the defense, farm up. I like that kind of style where you're building things, and you can choose how your progression moves forward. And that's one of the reasons why I think when that Clash Royale came out, and that's the card game, and it has the Clash of Clans people in there. Like as playing cards, it's a card based one. I don't know if you've played it, but I played it when it first came out, and I didn't like it. Obviously, the game's progressed vastly since then. It's probably removed all the things that I didn't like about it. But the main thing at the time when I didn't like about it that I like in this game is you are in control of how you progress. You can be as good or as not as good as you like. But you are in control. If you want to get better, then that's up to you. And in Clash Royale, it wasn't like that because you'd have to open up these chests to get these cards, but you don't know what kind of cards you're gonna get because it's some random card thing. And you could only level up your cards if you've got a certain number and amount of them. So you weren't in control of, okay, I want to learn how to do this attack, but actually I don't have high enough troops, but I can't level them up because I don't know when I'm going to get this card. Whereas Clash of Clans, you're in control, you can, I wouldn't advise it, but you can rush all the way to the higher town halls without research, as we see a lot of people do. Or you can take your time, you can not progress if you don't want to. But yeah, I guess that is, I like that because it must appeal to the control freak in me. I'm in control of how much enjoyment I can get out of the game and how much I want to invest in the game. So yeah, that's me. So you're competitive. I'm a little bit like to have control. That's quite an unusual combination. But, between us and the co-leaders, we kind of have, I'd call it a successful clan. We have a level 17 clan of mixed town halls. And it's not by all means the biggest clan. It's not a small clan, but we get by. We like to war. We're a war clan. We like to try our best to win our wars fairly and just strategically. And we've not done too badly. As mentioned in our previous episodes, we've talked about, having, sometimes we get a good war win streak going. So, we must be doing some of the things right. And I guess the reason why we thought we'd have this sort of podcast and just have these conversations is because you and I talk about it a lot anyway. We talk about Clash of Clans a lot. And a lot of it's about how you and I and the rest of the co-s and the leadership team, how we run the clan, how we decide what direction, how we want our clan to evolve. For example, when new things come out, like clan games, or when clan release come out, how are we going to decide what medals to give? How do we assign our bonus medals? So you and I talk about things like that a lot anyway, in terms of clan management. But on the flip side of that, a lot of clan management comes with a lot of frustrations. A lot of, why would you do that? So it was quite cathartic for you and I to sort of express our amusement, amazement, and anguish at some of the things that happen in our clan. So these are our therapy sessions, shall we say.
Yes.
Absolutely. Alright, so back to our schedule of events. What was first on the list, Jen?
The balancing changes I had first.
You'll have to remind me what they are, because...
Okay. So, the first balancing change is the Grand Warden's logic will be changed to make him less likely to follow dragons and Peckets.
So... I think there was quite a lot of questioning on the forums as to what is the motivation for this change? What is the data that Supercell is seeing that is needing this change? For me, I don't know that I would be adversely affected because I've not seen those, I guess, instances where it seemed OP or it seemed stupid that the Warden was following, a dragon or a P.E.K.K.A? Because... my warden follows nothing.
Was for people that use Lavaloon and have the dragon in the CC, and then when the CC opens, the warden tends to follow the dragon instead of the herd of loons going towards the town hall or something like that. So that I think that, and I've seen that and heard complaints about that a lot just in watching streams and stuff like that. So that I can understand. The P.E.K.K.A one, I haven't really heard a lot about that one. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, if it would be the same thing along the lines of the dragon, then...
I guess, but my warden's stupid anyway. Like...
Well, mine is pretty stupid. I think, did they not change, not that long ago, that the AI would not follow heroes as much and would follow the troops? Well, my warden's still going for the king and still trying to help
doesn't follow anyone, right? He will attract the healers and go off on his own. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, where are you going? The troops are over there. And, so I'm not directly impacted by that change. What I would wish that they would do, though, is, my goodness, that warden is not the brightest spark. is he? He will literally cross an entire base into the thick of things with all the defenses just hover over all these defenses, not hitting any of them to hit something else. And I'm like, there is a cannon in your, right in your face, shooting at your head, and you are hitting something else. So I wish they would, fix that.
I think they kind of. I mean, I don't want to jump too much, but I think they kind of touched upon that in the video between Darian and Ano, just how difficult it is to change the AI of the troops, and just how finicky the program, it's like the coding is itself to change things like that. So I mean, just hearing that little bit of that video, it kind of makes sense where it might be difficult to change something like that because they don't want to. Because if the coding is so picky, and if you change one thing, it might disrupt the rest. I can understand them, not wanting to tinker with it too much.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Obviously they'll have to. I think they said it was like a legacy piece of code. That they've not touched it for years or something like that, and so whoever left it in a good place apparently. I'm just like, why? Surely they would have, But I think it's also the fact that the warden is not hampered by walls, so therefore will directly take the quickest route, be it through the wall of infernals or through a line of cannons and all that, into going into no man's land when he could have just gone round the corner. I think it's the fact that he doesn't actually hit anything on his way, and I'm like, oh, goodness sake. So yeah, I'm not directly impacted by that. They've not released the update yet, have they?
No. It says that it will be in an upcoming maintenance, still to be determined.
Okay. Do you think after that change you'll be like, oh, now I can do Lava Loon with a dragon in my CC?
I don't think so, because I never would have done Lava Loon with a dragon in the CC. I would have always just taken loons. So
okay.
I don't think that one's gonna affect me too much either. The next one is a level 7 single beam Inferno Tower. DPS will be reduced by 100.
So level 7 is what level, Town Hall?
That would be yours.
Mine. Okay, so yours is still the same.
Mine's still the same.
Okay. I think that I mean, everyone's using singles right now. Everyone. I've not seen very many multis. So they must have just seen that. I think it's. They obviously have the data that shows that this is the right thing to do, but I think that because the single infernal takes time to ramp up anyway, sometimes it can be a bit frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it'll cause other people to start using more multis?
Honestly, I don't think so. I think that people will have to pay attention to their heroes more, definitely, because if it's going to be, it's going to be locking on at the same time, but that ramp up, like you said, is going to be a little bit less now because it's not, as much DPS. So, and that's something, especially, with Queen Chargers, I do it too. Like, I watch, and as soon as it locks on, it's like, okay, I'm watching. And now, if it's that little bit quicker, you're gonna have to be that little bit quicker. So,
well, is it not just the final highest damage that's less than 100? So the rate of ramping up is the same. It just the most damage it can do is less.
Well, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
So it's a nerf.
Damage per second will be reduced by. Yeah, it's I don't know how much I would get from that anyway, just because I don't hit a lot of 13s. I mean, you'd notice it more than I would.
Yeah, sure I would.
The super wall breaker explosion radius will be reduced from 2 to 1.6 tiles.
Okay, I guess that's probably because we noticed that with everyone having all these compact bases or spread out bases, it didn't actually matter. When the Super Wall Breaker exploded, it took out way too many structures in between. Because I think even in the stretched out bases that are time waster sort of designed in mind, you really only have one or two tiles in between the two or the trash buildings, and the wall breaker would be able to take out, I don't know, a lot around it. So I'm guessing that's their thinking behind it. For me, I'm thinking not gonna make an ounce of difference whatsoever because I will not use them. Because for my super troops, I see them more as something different, more for farming, I'm not ready to use them in war yet, but I might want to have wall breakers. I might want to have giants in my war army, and therefore I need them to be how I have them before and not super. So I need them available. So for me, I'm always going to be flitting between the super barbarian and the super goblin, the sneaky goblin. And plus, I find those two troops are the most, well, I enjoy them the most over the Giants and the Wall Breakers anyway, so it won't be a different for me.
See, and for me, like, I used them, I think, one Clan War League. I had them unlocked, and I mean, the fact that they take one Super Wall Breaker takes up 8 spaces, it kind of leans me to I mean, they're great in that you're almost guaranteed to open the wall because of that explosion that it has, but 4 regular wall breakers can get me through 2 layers under rage, which you're usually raging your queen through a charge anyway. So for me to get through 2 layers as opposed to 1 and just having to, time it a little bit better. So, I mean, for me, I don't see myself using the super wall breakers ever again, other than, I mean, if there's going to be some kind of event special where you get something from using them, it's just not worth it for me, just for what I want to get from a base. So,
I mean, have you seen any good attacks with these super troops? Any of them?
Well, I mean, a lot of the pro players, you see a lot of them using the super troops because they can afford to, because they know that they only need like 3 moons over here to get this and then whatever over here, whereas I'm not counting all that much. It's just, so, I mean, for them it's useful, but for me, the average player, not really.
I mean, it's not for the space. I think I don't know if they've been a bit too conservative, but the space trade-off is not enough for your average Joe.
If it was 6, I would say okay, but 8, I mean, that's cleanup troops, that's 2 wizards, that's almost a baby dragon, like, that's lots.
Yeah, I mean, for me, definitely, I'm not in any way, shape or form thinking, oh, I can afford to lose a couple of these troops. Every troop is important in my army. They're all valued. So, I can't think, I mean, obviously, your pro players are like, okay, I can sacrifice this because I know I'm going to get the rest of the base. These are just, superfluous. And so I can trade them in for a different troop. But for you and I, no. I need every troop I can get.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And then the last balancing change is the level 7 skeleton spell spawns will increase from 16 to 17 skeletons.
I can understand why they did this. I can understand why nobody's really using the skeleton spell, because they've just been sort of overtaken by all the other spells, really. Particularly the bat spell, which is its aerial counterpart, I guess. But there's not really a, if you need skellies, you'll take witches.
Yeah.
So I can understand why they do that. I'm probably seeing an under average usage of that spell. But even I don't take skeleton spells. I have tried to use it in certain combinations to see if what will work, but I've never found them to be terribly successful. I think also because the spawn rate is just too long.
Slow.
Yeah, too slow. To distract defenses long enough or what have you.
Yeah, and for me, I would rather take a freeze because you're getting 7 seconds of things being frozen, whereas because it seems like the skeletons take so long to spawn, it's just a better value for the freeze than a skeleton.
Yeah. But I am looking forward to seeing how that one extra skeleton will make it an OP spell.
Yeah.
Someone will find a way.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
so all in all, what do you think about the balancing changes? Not so fast, or,
I'm honestly not so fussed. I mean, the only thing that might impact me at some point would be the Infernos, if I ever have to hit a Talon of 13. And I mean, I do in War the occasional time, but even then, it's just not...
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see it being a huge thing.
Mm-hmm. One thing that I have noticed, and I don't know which update it came in, was now that they're having an update or a maintenance break, there's a little clock that pops up there.
Yes, I do like that.
I do like that, yeah. So you can actually think, oh, maybe I'll not boost right now. or maybe I will look at those war replays before they're gone forever.
Yeah, no, I do like that.
Because they used to always just not tell anyone and then announce it after the fact that there was an update, so you're like, oh. And then they had a pop-up saying in X amount of minutes, but now it's good because it's just always there ticking down, so you know. So that was a good quality of life change that they didn't announce.
Yeah, definitely like that one. Yeah.
Okay.
So the next thing, our war has just started, so we'll see
how
dear. The events that are going on right now.
So I guess these events are a result of, because we can then tackle 2 topics in one, which is it's Supercell's 10th celebration.
Oh, yes.
So I think these are these events to celebrate that.
Yes, so Supercell is celebrating its 10th anniversary. Clash of Clans itself is on 8, I believe they said. We have still yet to get our, what is that, in September, I think? August or September for Clash of Clans when the cake comes out, or the bloom, or whatever it is. But anyway, 10 years for Supercell. They've got a couple events going on. They've got a discounted birthday trader. There was a special fountain.
Yeah, do you like the fountain?
I'm not fussed.
It's a bit of an eyesore, isn't it?
It's what?
It's a bit of an eyesore.
Yeah, a little bit.
As in, they could have chosen any other kind of colour, but it had to be this lurid purple. It's not even the colour of elixirs, it's even more sort of vibrant.
Yeah. So, and I mean, you got it in the free season challenges thing. So, I mean, I wasn't too fussed. It was free. I didn't have to pay for it. So
it was nice that they gave it to everyone. It's nice. Always nice to have more obstacles, more things to fill up my base.
Yeah, your base is cluttered enough.
Well, if it's clearly these things are available, it's not like I went and bought some more. It's just what's available in the game. I just choose to not, be OCD and arrange them in any shape or form.
So a couple days ago, we had a witch event.
And I finished that one.
I did not do that one. That was for some hero potions. And then,
so you could actually needed that one. You probably needed that one then.
I think I'm full on hero potions, actually.
Huh.
And now we've got a giant event going on for a power potion. There's also discount in the spell shop, where all the spells are discounted. We've got the Finer Minor event coming up in 13 hours.
Yay.
And I know you're excited about that. And then we got Clan Games in 5.5 days, Clan War Leagues in 15. So those are the events going on right now. The special birthday trader.
Do you like that his hat? I like that he's wearing a birthday hat.
Yes.
But then it disappears when he opens up his shady jacket.
Does it?
It does.
Oh, yeah.
So clearly someone could not be bothered, doing that extra bit of coding there.
It does. So the last couple of days, we've gotten a free shovel.
Mm-hmm. Of which I told you it was quite handy, wasn't it? You could get get the shovel, and if you don't like shovels or you've got a pristine base, how you like it, you could sell the shovel for 50 gems and then buy the research potion that was on offer to effectively get a free research potion.
Yeah.
You kept your shovel.
I kept my shovel. I am still undecided how I want my base to be, so the shovels, when I reorganize, will come in handy. So the first one was a free shovel. The second one was some free wall rings, and then the third, this last one, or this one we're on right now, has been free builder potion, free hero potions, 2 free hero potions, and
so these ones are more, I guess, from now on, short of, actually just from now, for me, they're just free gems for me, because I'm pretty much maxed on everything in my treasury, so I can't hold any more, so they will be traded for gems. Which is good, because I'm trying to save my gems, remember, to afford the ridiculous amount of gems that it costs to get a war base slot.
Yes. I think just touching upon that, I thought that, I would be sneaky, and I thought, I'm just going to save some of my bases and put it in my notes app, with a link to wherever, and, took a snapshot of the base, put the link into my notes, worked all fine and dandy for the first little bit, and then after a while, after I had replaced those bases with new bases, the links no longer worked. So, having those extra base slots in-game are definitely necessary if you can afford them.
Yeah, but they are a bit expensive, particularly when you increase incrementally. But I think it's nice to have these sort of little celebrations for Supercell's 10th. It's not Clash of Clans anniversary, so it's not as major, but it's nice that we were getting some free stuff. I won't say no to free stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to complain about free stuff.
I probably won't be able to do the events either. Not doing that minor event, not even attempting it. So I'm missing out on a lot of my XP, because, that's something.
Well, like I said, I didn't do the witch event, so I'm not doing this giant event either, so that's 800 XP that you gained on me there.
I'm not doing the giant one.
No? Okay.
Well, I can't. There's only 15 hours left.
We'll even out, because I'll probably do the minor event and you won't, so.
Okay, so, happy birthday, Supercell.
Happy birthday.
What's next on the list?
Our promotions. We had a couple, in celebration of our clan leveling up to 17, we had a couple promotions.
To Elder, yes.
To Elder. Yeah. Normally, we like to, save a momentous occasion like that for co-leader, but we had discussed a couple episodes ago that there was no front runners in that area, so we decided to forgo promoting a co and chose to do a couple elders instead. And
sort of widening the pool for next time.
Kind of maybe in a two-part thing where, these two elders were definitely ones that, we both felt that they deserved it, and there was definitely a couple more maybe down the road.
Unless they flick out.
Yeah.
So that's quite good, and I think they definitely have earned it in their own different ways. But yeah, so that was good. And I guess also we as a clan have been recruited.
Yes.
Yes. So you, Jen, have brought in some very dodgy characters, I'm just going to say. Obviously the ones I found were great.
I think you're full of crap. I think that the Town Hall 10 that we got and the Town
I definitely found him. And him.
I think I definitely found both of those.
Lies.
And I would like to point out that we haven't gotten any 7s and 8s to stay, which is the bulk of what you invite.
Who are you talking about? Who are you talking about? We still have quite a lot of new ones, and they've made it. You just noticed the higher ups more because they're more risky.
Town Hall 8. I remember we had this Town Hall 8 who had other accounts and was leader of a clan and was in this top other clan. And he had this attitude where I'm above practicing and I don't have to do this. And what happened to him? He left.
Well, you and I both had apprehensions about him being in the clan in the first place. Because this was a guy that had multiple accounts and he had several maxed out accounts or very high level accounts, and they were in very successful clans already, so you're always a bit like, well, why are you in this one? And normally the answer is because those very successful clans over there probably don't accept lower town halls. So in a way, we were having this sort of dilemma knowing that, well, okay, he's in this clan, but there's a high chance of him, leaving once his town hall is up to the required minimum of his other clan, so there's a bit of, well, are we being used by him? We're knowing that he's not really in the clan because he had multiple accounts in a family of clans that were very successful. So clearly that's where his loyalties would lay. So I'm not gonna cry over that loss, but we kept him in, and like you said, he was a 10 all 8, and he wanted to practice. He wanted basically to get war stars to build up his profile, right? So he obviously knew that if you were to clean up after somebody else's base after it's been hit, you're not going to get the full 3 stars. You're only going to get the new one from that attack. So he wanted to hit a fresh base for his second as well, and that's probably why he left. Because you had told him that he needed to clean up or practice on another base that had already been hit, of which was on Town Hall 8 still.
And but just an explanation of that, because we are an international clan, because we have people from different parts of the world, we do allow people 10 hours, and he was requesting to hit this base within 4 hours of war starting, and it's just like, no, like, we allow everybody 10 hours because we know that people live in different areas of the world, and that's just our way of, being fair to everybody, allowing each person the opportunity to get their stars.
Exactly. There's no, just because you're locked out and you're on when war started doesn't mean you get all the stars. So...
And I think that's one constant that I'm glad is for the clan, because it keeps it fair for everyone, and...
Yeah, no, and I think that's why we are we think about those things. You know, what is it that we want our clan to do? Not everyone's clan's going to be the same, but what does our clan? How do we want to approach that? Um, but yeah, so this town hall 8 had to practice on another town hall 8 and left. I want to say he left because he was quite ashamed that he did not restart it. So clearly, for someone who didn't need to practice, he said he wasn't here for practice. Clearly, he needs some practice because he couldn't restart it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of recruitment, also, you and I, we like to have what we call like trial by fire. You know, we you know, some people who are a bit like we're unsure of, we might put them in war, and we're quite stringent in terms of how we play those wars. So in the last couple of wars, not everyone survived. You know, be it you're not taking a full army, be it you're not attacking who we suggested you should attack. You know, we need to see, for us, we want to see that you actually know how to work as a team, how to follow a war plan. And for those that were unsure of, this is your make or break moment where you can show that actually you're doing well as being part of our team. And not everyone is.
No, absolutely.
So there's quite a few casualties. So even though we were recruiting and we had quite a big influx of members coming in, not everyone survives towards the end of the process.
No, yeah.
It's kind of a multi-stage process. You know, once you're established and whatnot, you know, at that point, it's where you and I and the other people were confident that, you know, you're going to follow the war plan, and we're still going to keep an eye on you, but, you know, it's a little bit more, okay, we can sort of not be as hardcore about it, I guess. Because, you know, first impressions count, like you said.
Absolutely.
You know, you don't just join and request troops in somebody's clan that you don't even know a jot about without saying hello. It's like I always say, do I come to your house, not say hello, and go straight for the fridge? No. You know, you say hello, and yeah. So recruitment been fun these days. Getting cussed out and whatnot. We've had what if I had today? You know, funnily enough, I've not had anyone say to me, "You invited me," because that seems to be the go-to these days. You invited me, and I'm like, yeah, I invited you so we could have this conversation because I can't have it any other way. But apparently that means that they don't need to do anything. They're just in the clan. But I've had a lot of, I'm just back into this game. I'm new to this town hall. I only upgraded 2 days ago. I'm maxed except from this, and this. You know, that was that guy. He was like, I'm maxed town hall 9 because he's upgrading his town hall. And we were like, are you really? Yeah. And then he was like, yeah, I'm maxed apart from this, and this. And I was like, if there's something after that maxed bit, you're not maxed.
You're not maxed, yeah.
Okay, walls, okay, maybe. But anything else, you know? But yeah, you're not truly maxed until then, and then you and I had we always, and this is, I guess, also cathartic for us in that, you know, sometimes there's just recruitment sort of like stupidity. So you and I quite like to have a conversation after chat to illustrate why we thought that was a stupid response. So I ended up calling you a max 10 out of 13 apart from your town hall. And your base camps, and your defences, and your troops and your heroes. But that's it. That's all. You're maxed otherwise.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That one was good. Yeah.
So, but I have I've been thinking about what you've been saying about recruitment, and how you think that the suggestions that you get provided with are based upon the components of what your clan's made up of. So you were saying that you've been noticing that we've been getting more Town Hall 10s and 11s pop up and 9s when we started to, include a few of them in our clan now. So you see them coming up a lot more as suggestions for recruitment. So I was thinking about that, and there must be someone, if what you're saying is true, right, and they're trying to include these kind of minor changes to make it more relevant, to provide more relevant suggestions to you, then there must be someone in our clan that is located or has started the game and moved or something. But I'm getting a lot of Japanese, Korean, Chinese names coming up these days, particularly Korean names. I don't know if you've noticed that. Before there'd be, obviously your English letters, your English alphabet letters, and there'd be the Arabic ones, the sort of Bangladeshi kind of ones as well. But I've never really seen a lot of the Asia kind of Korea, Chinese, Japanese.
I want to say it's almost the time of day that you start searching for someone as well, because I know that, like, if I try and recruit, like, as soon as I get up in the morning, the people that pop up tend to be different than the ones if I try and recruit in the evening, like later at night. And I mean, I'm not just talking, I'm going in there once and seeing the list and then going out. Like, I'm going in there 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, because I know that, it cycles, it does whatever. And just even, like I said, from morning to night, I'm noticing a difference of people. So I don't know if that's like, if there's a point in between there that it, like every 24 hours, it refreshes the people that it puts in there or what it does. But I do notice that, like you said, the characters and the names, it changes from in the morning when I try and in the evening when I try. Like, it's definitely a different area.
That may explain it then. But yeah, no, I mean, definitely seeing a lot more of those kind of names that I've not had before. So there might be something in there. You might be right. It might be due to the time of day. Because I was like, do we have someone who's actually Korean or started their game in Korea? Do we have someone that started to, as in I was like, not seen these come in before, but we have had new recruits and they're kind of staying. So does that influence? Is that why I'm seeing these things?
That could very much be it too. Just kind of, including, I mean, who knows what the code or the whatever it is. Like, maybe that's one of the included things where, in your clan, if you've got this, person from here, it brings that up in the search as well to allow those people, allow that.
Because, I agree, and I think because they are always saying, okay, we can't add a language filter, but we're doing things that might influence and therefore result in people having the same language. So something like that might have a...
Well, and I mean, it makes sense because, I mean, they know where the accounts have been created, right? Because, if you lose your account, that's one of the stipulations you have to provide, where you created it, what day, whatever. So they know where it's been created. So they probably have something like that in the code where it's like, okay, this clan now has this person. Let's allow more of those to pop up, in that search for that clan, because they've got that area in that clan, just to kind of make it more.
Yeah, so, in that sort of fuzzy logic kind of way, you could say, okay, the odds are they would know what language you're talking about, So I was just wondering about that, just because you mentioned noticing that you were seeing more of these things reacting to how our clan is.
I definitely 100% know that there has been more Town Hall 9s, 10s, and 11s in the search since we got another 10, since we got another 11, and since we've gotten a few more 9s in the clan. So, and less Town Hall 8s because they've now upgraded to Town Hall 9.
So what you're telling me is I need to recruit more Town Hall 8s.
And 7s. Get the balance back. Get the balance back.
Well, our balance is not too bad now. But, okay. So yeah, generally our clan is got a good, stable core mix of people. And I think we're kind of in a good place right now. We finished leagues, and we started our war. Why don't you talk about this war?
Our first war wasn't bad. We got a perfect war right after leagues, and then
It was a mini war. It wasn't a lowers war.
Right. We did a lowers war right after leagues. That war went okay.
I think that's because after leagues, everyone does the heroes. It's a given. You're doing the hero because you held off.
You know, I was doing my heroes, but I would have been in war. Our 11 put down, you know, his heroes. We had, you know, some 9s that were doing heroes. So just given the gap that we would have had, it made sense to do a lowers war because we had so many 7s and 8s that had joined over leagues. So we had to get them in fire, trial by fire, and so we did that. Ended up getting a perfect war.
Losing a few on the way.
What's that?
Losing a few of the new ones on the way.
Yeah, we lost a couple, but I mean, you got to get the weeds out. So then we had another war.
Just the one that's just passed.
We let it run a little bit longer than we normally do.
Is that because someone's competitive and wants the war?
I'm just going to talk over you. We had a big spread. We had our 13-7 spread. We had 25 people in, again, because we had a couple new people to get in. We had we had 2 new 10s to get in. Our 11 was still out, so we did have that gap. So we knew that we probably would get some kind of a mismatch in the in the war, just because we did have that gap in there. We ended up matching a clan that they didn't necessarily skew their roster. They had an engineer at the very bottom, and everything from about 4 down, so 4 to 25, was rushed and super rushed.
An engineer.
And yeah, there was a couple engineers. Looking at the clan now,
but that meant it was top heavy.
Yeah, there's 4 people left in the clan now, I think. Everyone has, I guess, migrated back to the main clan or an alternate clan. I guess I don't know what this clan was, but through, you know, war going along and whatever, we had a couple people, more than a couple, there was about 3 or 4 people, and one even tried to join after war had ended, trying to join our clan from the other clan, and it was
some
just
espionage there.
Yeah, just kind of mind-boggling what they'd be trying to, you know, why they'd be trying to get into the clan and whatnot. And we did end up winning the war, though. We won on stars quite convincingly, 74-46. They gave up after a while. They couldn't. Their top bases cleared our top bases. They cleared from 2 to 7 with a 73% on number 1 on your base, and then they didn't clear our 9s and 8s. So
yeah, I think they must have had a lot of new recruits as well, but also because they had an alternate clan, you couldn't know who was actually new and who was just rejoining.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were let down by their lowers.
Yeah.
And their poor spying technique.
Yeah.
I think you were right. I think there was like at least 4 or 5 people trying to join, and no.
I think it helps us too. With certain clans, if we start out right away, like as soon as war starts, and they can see, you know, how successful we've been, I think sometimes clans, after a certain point, just kind of give up, because it's just like, well, you know, all they're doing is 3-starring, or they've got all this done already, you know. And I don't know if maybe that's kind of what happened there, or what, but
I think they were playing to win. But then realise how poorly they had performed.
Well, I think they realised after their number 1 had like maybe he was planning on 3-starring and he only got the 73%. So I think maybe after that they were kind of a little,
Yeah, but I hadn't hit yet, so 73% is not too bad.
No, that's true. And they did do a couple attacks, and I mean that was 4 hours left in war. They did a couple after that, but
because they looked like they were wanting to win, because you could see that the top 4 or however many players were trying to cover for the lowers and just picking it off that way. So they were like, okay, let's just get the stars. So they were effectively blocking the middle town halls because they were instantly hitting them for the stars.
I think where they kind of gave up was they covered from 1 to 7, right? So they cleared our bases 1 to 7. So their 7 guy, who would normally be attacking his equal, hit our number 12. A Town Hall 8, a 9 hitting a Town Hall 8, and only got 2-star 69%. So that might have been where it was just like, okay, we realized our 9s are not going to be able to hold their own and even get 8s, and that might have been where they
because they were just going to be like, okay, we've got 25 people, I only really need 12 people or 13 people to cover war, and so screw the lowers, we're just going to clear the stars and get them now, and maybe have the lowers loot or what have you. But then unfortunately they weren't able to cover the costs of a non-successful attack that way. We do get clans that do that it's only the top half of the war clan that's playing. The other ones are just there for filler. But I'm glad we won that one, because I had to hit 2 Town Hall 13s. I had no backup. No backup from you.
You might have to do that again this war, although looking at bases 1 and 2, they're pretty much the same base. So if you don't 3-star number 2, you can practice again on number 1.
No, that's not how it works. I want backup. I'm tired of not having backup. The whole point of this recruitment drive was so that I could have backup.
And this war, I mean, they're definitely top heavy. They roster engineered. They've got 2 Town Hall 3s at the bottom. Their bases in between they're not as rushed as the last clan, but they're definitely rushed. They're definitely not upgraded like ours are. And I mean, this is where we get our mismatch at the top, because our bases are upgraded throughout. They're, regularly weighted or normally weighted Town Hall 8s, Town Hall 9s, whatnot. And that's kind of where we get the imbalance, because
we get the top heavy roster engineered kind of people, but I mean, I think I'm always a little bit more apprehensive though, because what's the power potion these days? What's the hero potion? I mean, they're giving them away in the trader these days. So no matter how rushed you are.
I haven't seen a lot of people. The only time that I see people use them is when we use them on them. Because it's like, oh, yeah, reminder, I saw them use it. I've got one of those too. I might as well, I may as well use it. So that's usually the only time I see them use it. And that's why, I try not to use at this point, I'm only using hero potions to upgrade my heroes to max level if I have to help you on a 13, and I try not to use them otherwise, because I don't want to put that idea back into their head where, oh yeah, I've got these potions I can be using, because you still do get some free ones, just even in the regular season challenges. So I mean, people should have them.
Yeah, I mean, they're not really scarce these days. You might not have them for every single war, but...
And I mean, especially with this birthday trader out, he was giving away 2 hero potions in the event. The witch event was a hero potion. There's a power potion with the giant event. So
I'm always... I'm always wary about even, maybe they're roster engineering, and maybe some of these bases are rushed, but, there's these potions that sort of weigh against that make them on an even footing. So yeah. We shall see. We'll see if we get any backup this time around.
Good news in war. Their number 3 Town Hall 11 just failed on our number 5 at Town Hall 10. So good news there.
Oh, great. That's good.
So that means that, their number 4 is going to have to clear, or they're going to have to dip. So that's good.
I might have some backup. Although we have quite a lot of... We're against 3 Town Hall 10s, 2 Town Hall 11s, 1 10 out of 12, and 2 10 out of 13s.
You know, honestly, I think that we will be okay. Just judging from.
I don't know. I've been sucking lately.
just judging from their war log. The last how many wars that they've played, the highest that they've gotten is 57. So, 57, 58. So even if you're just 2-starring bases 1 and 2, that's still giving us a very good chance successfully.
Are you hoping for more?
Just given,
you say that like that's the worst case scenario. That is the best case scenario here. I mean, these are 10 whole 13s I'm hitting, right? So, let's just bear that in mind, okay? And I have been sucking, so it's not been a good day for attacking today.
Well, like I said, hopefully I'm hoping that our veteran 11 is going to come through and not, come to the just finished upgrading my hero.
Oh, yeah, I've forgotten everything now.
Yeah, so hopefully. And I mean, we've got a new 11, not a new 11, but a new 11 to the clan on a base that looks Town Hall 9 with some Infernals and an Eagle. So, I mean, it's a good base for him to, and I mean, that's not an easy base. So it'll be a good base to kind of test out his skills and see where he's at.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Good. And I guess the last thing we've got to talk about, just because I'm conscious of time, is the developer town happy hour, whatchamacallit, dealie. Aye.
So, just a couple things that they had. I mean, the first 40 minutes of the video, I know you don't want me to say it, but it was kind of a snooze fest for me. It was like, okay, I'm listening to these guys. Some of it was like, okay, I was more interested in the stuff that they had right at the end, where it was the community, their mods had gone through the questions, the community was asking questions, they were answering stuff like that. So some of the things. So
you didn't find it was interesting that they had like 4 different troops or something before they had the Yeti?
Yeah. And I mean, it's stuff like that where, it wasn't really stuff I needed to know, but it was kind of nice just to get, a little bit of the behind the scenes, how they kind of, come out with all of these things.
The designs were quite nice.
Yeah.
I quite like the idea of the little chariot guy shooting Teslas.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
That was, I thought. Yeah. Like, he was like... Because it fitted in with the whole Tesla Electro Dragon kind of theme. So, yeah, I thought it would have been quite good having a little chariot guy.
Well, I mean, who knows in a future update. But, I mean, some of the things that they had talked about that were questions from the community were clan perks. How right now in the clan, there's only so many perks after you get to clan level 10, and even the shields and stuff, they don't change after 20 and whatnot. So they kind of touched upon that in that I think Ano said that there was something coming, maybe not necessarily more clan perks, but something in the way of, the clan will benefit in some way with what is coming out in the future.
I thought that was the most interesting thing out of the whole chat. For me, anyway, because I was like, oh.
And remember, in previous updates, I said there was something clan-oriented coming up, so I mean, maybe that's something to do with it as well, like there was something with the clan. Another thing that Ano had said was, when they were talking about the super troops, he had mentioned a super witch, so possibly... a new troop coming out. A new super troop coming out.
Well, one of those things is I never knew if he was just kidding or what have you. I wasn't sure if he was just taking the mic then. But, I'm sure there will be a super witch. I don't know what's going to happen. But, no, I definitely felt that was the most interesting sort of, in terms of, that actually, I'll just listen to what that was about, kind of moment. And the other stuff, it's nice to have. It's always interesting to know what they're thinking about, why they go through certain things. But in terms of impacts to, how I play the game, what I enjoy from the game, that nugget of information is probably what made that whole chat worthwhile. I mean, obviously at the end they did like a sneak peek about something that's coming in the next update. What do you think it is?
I have no idea. My brain was just not even awake yet because it was early in the morning when I watched it. It was like, I don't even know what that could be. Like, is it somebody riding a horse and throwing like a mallet or something? Like, I don't know. Like, it was just, I couldn't.
Are you just thinking about the chariot guy? Well, I think there's like people are saying that it's like the infernal baby dragon, or in Clash Royale there's like a baby dragon in there, but then there's a different sort of baby dragon, infernal or something, right? And it's that shape, that is the black type shape, and okay, sure. It probably is a new troop. I would quite like it to be a new defense, to be honest. I think I like how everyone assumes it's a new troop. um, I would quite like it to be a new defense or a new siege barracks, but it's probably a new troop, to be honest. It's probably a new dark troop, to be honest, because we've not had a new one.
Probably a dark troop.
Yeah, we've not had a new one for a while.
Like Iceland the last time.
Well, I guess we could say we've had 4 new dark troops from the super troops, but pure dark, like a true dark troop. And it's probably one of those things. So are you a little bit excited? It'll give me something to upgrade. All these research missions that are turning into gens. Yeah. I'm gonna have to.
Absolutely.
When do you think it'll?
I don't know. There was a couple other things I had written down. I want to get your kind of take on them. One of the things that they had talked about as well was because of the new buildings at Town Hall 13, they had mentioned that the actual total buildings is in and around 100 now. So they were kind of wondering, like, do we have to have, certain buildings not give any percent, certain buildings give a percentage, or they had, I don't know, entertained the idea or just mentioned, do they start combining buildings together to be like a super defense or a super, building that would, kind of take space off of the map to just make something a little bit bigger, but in a sense take a little bit of space off of the map, because they didn't want to make things longer than 3 minutes. They didn't want to make the map any bigger, because then they got to start, accounting for the time distance to get from one end to the other. So that was just kind of something that they had touched upon, where, combining buildings, I
think it's good that they're thinking about it. As in, I think you're right in that it was interesting in that, and it's nice to see that they are thinking, how long does it take for a troop to go from one place to another? Because a lot of bases are built with that in mind. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of dragon attacks in 10L7s build a hut in the corners kind of thing. But I think they've kind of already done that though, haven't they? Because it's like, these builder up things, like the multi-mortar, the archer tower that goes up and down, and the cannon that goes triple or not, double or not. They have already kind of done that.
But it's not really, I mean, it's a geared up, but it's not really combining 2 buildings. Whereas, say, if you had, 2 archer towers combined into one, and, instead of taking up the 3x3 space, maybe they take up a 4x4 space, are a little bit higher, and, have 8 archers on top. Like, just something like that. Like, that's kind of where I was, like...
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be definitely a game changer, a twist.
Where you have the option too, where you can have like 2 regular archer towers, or you get this 4x4 super archer tower that's twice the size, or whatever.
But I think all base designers are sort of going no, because it's just the. How do you build a base for that? For that? But I mean, that is an interesting idea, and that is something that I've talked to you about in the past, about how, and this is why it's hard to hit up as a lower town hall, is because like one building will only account for nearly 1% or just over 1%. So when you're trying to get the second star for 50, it's a lot harder for lower town halls to hit up. So I am glad that they are actually thinking about the ramifications rather than just rolling something out on it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have, before in the past, they were like, oh no, we can't make the map bigger. It's just not possible, it's too much processing. And now they have. They made it, I don't know, however many tiles bigger now. So, as technology grows and as, I don't know, however server, memory, blah, space, they could technically make the map bigger, but it's not always the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
So what else caught your eye?
They had mentioned something about people wanting to be able to hit more practice bases, not just in like.
I did think of you when they were talking about it. I was like, oh yes.
Yeah, and they had kind of talked about people being able to friendly challenge their own bases.
Mm-hmm.
And they were kind of skeptical about that one, especially just because at the competitive level, with people, building a base right away and then practicing it and being able to 3-star it, to know for a war. But I mean, my argument to that was they could do that anyway, just get somebody else to build it and then nonstop practice it anyway. And I mean, for me especially, it would be beneficial just to have that option, because, and especially in a smaller clan where you don't where you've only got 113 or 1 town hall 9 or 1 town hall 10, it just gives that person, it allows them to practice and to have that same advantage that other clans have that have multiple town halls like that, where they can do friendly challenges nonstop. It would just allow that person that same ability to do that. And I mean, the argument could be said they could go to multiplayer and hit multiplayer, but you and I know that the bases aren't the same. If you can, if you struggle on a base in war and it's just like, man, like I wish I could have tried this attack, or I wish I would have done this differently, or if this had not failed, I could do this. I think it would help people kind of progress in the game and get better themselves. If it's okay, I can build this base, I can practice it myself, just so I can see and so I can get better.
I mean, yeah, I understand the arguments about how it could impact the pro players, and those are valid points, because that's where, they're, like they said, there's actual real life money at stake, and it's a sizable amount. So I can understand why they haven't done or are apprehensive of doing something like that. What I would then suggest, that what I would personally like to do, or have, or at least find some middle ground, is I think it would be good that if you, at the end of war, you, for the next, let's say, 23 hours, right? For the next 23 hours, you could pick one base out of that war lineup to hit again as many times as you want. And that's available for 23 hours, given the fact that you might start to fight another war. So by that 23 hours, your new war is not up then. And yes, you might get lucky and you might find that exact same base in the next war match that you get. But, what are the odds of, well, particularly in our clan, we probably won't see that happening a lot. And I'm pretty sure a lot of pro clans have, they're always mindful of, okay, that base is used. It's we've used it in the competitive scene, and therefore that's its lifespan, and we don't use it again. That's why they have, dedicated base builders that are having to produce lots of bases continuously. That base is burnt after one war. So it's very unlikely that you would find that same base again in another pro lineup war. So I think it would be good that, at the end of a war, everyone in their clan could get to choose one base. It could be a stupid base, could be a hard base, what have you. One base out of that war you just finished on, to have the opportunity to hit it with whatever you want as many times as you want for the next 23 hours before your next war starts. So, even if I guess if you found that your next war lineup found the exact same base again, because the war bases aren't shown until war starts, so that's why you don't know if you're gonna. Sure, you can be practicing on that previous base, but you don't know that that's gonna come up in the next war. And once war starts, you can't practice on that base anymore, and it's not like for sure that you're gonna get that base anyway.
Right.
But then at least you get that payoff of I practiced on that base. I don't get to practice anymore. And this is now I get to show the efforts of having practice beforehand and,
Yeah, no.
learn
I mean,
something.
I'd be happy with 12 hours being able, within 12 hours being able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying a generic time before actually new war bases are shown. I think that would be something that I'm sure someone else will find a flaw in there to abuse, but
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be okay. I don't think that it would be, the end of the world for the pro scene if we could practice on one base in your past war lineup. And have that as a war situation where there's still a CC in there. If you failed on that base, you might not know where all the traps are.
Yeah.
And just hit it with, and you're like, oh, sometimes when you're looking at a war base, you're like, should I go with this army or this army? And you'll never know the answer to that if you don't get to practice.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So that's what I would like to happen.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, like just for my own personal reasons, just it would. I mean, I can hit challenges with you all day, and still not kind of. I mean, I can get a sense of how an attack or how an army is going to work on a base, but it's still not the same as hitting your equal and being able to see an entire base cleared and be like, yes, everything went to plan.
And you still need me to be posting it for you to hit.
Yeah, I still need you to be, coordinating a time with you to be online and whatnot, and so yeah.
So yeah, that's what I would like to see something like that happen.
Yeah. There was one last thing I have written down here, an interview recruiting process. They were talking about global at the time, and why they had removed that again, and then they had also talked about. Somebody had asked, could there be some kind of recruiting interview when people request into clans, whereas you can, have a little chat with that person before they even join in the clan. So then they had talked about, they were thinking about ways, like because they didn't want to just open everything up again because they didn't want to open the can of worms of global chat and how toxic it was again. So they did kind of hint at, they were thinking of ideas of how to introduce something like that where there could be some communication between players before they join a clan. So, but for a recruitment process in that.
Yeah, I just don't think. I don't know. I like the idea that you're able to filter out some of the weeds, like you said, and not have that just fill up our chat sometimes. I like there to be a sort of interim step before they're actually in the clan. I think that would be quite nice, so that we can sort of say, okay, you flicked out already, but you weren't in the clan, So, and it works both ways. Then they know what we want, and that you can't possibly fit it all in a clan description or have to use some sort of third party website.
And see, that's where, I mean, if there could be some kind of just a little chat pop up privately or whatever in game somehow, so you can talk with them and then just say, okay, this is what it is. So
I don't think there will ever be a private in-game chat.
I think it would be nice if there could be, just because.
But there's stupid people out there in that world, unfortunately.
But I mean, too. Then it's as simple as including a block button. If this person's being toxic, you block them, and they can never request to join. They can never, send you another invite. They can never do anything.
I would like a block list. Yeah, I would like a block list because
it would just make things a lot easier, because then that those toxic people can never request back into the clan. They can never, harass you by sending you friend requests or whatever way they want to do it. It kind of guarantees it puts a stop to it just like that. Like, I don't know how easy coding something like that would be, but it would solve a lot of problems if people could just be blocked. It's one thing to block somebody than it is to say, oh, just ignore them. Because when you get requests popping up, like it's hard to ignore because they're right there in front of you where people can see them.
Yeah, with toxic request to join messages, which is why I think, it would be nice to, okay, you can't have a global anymore, but just to have a space, I don't know if it's a separate chat tab where it's just recruitment, so it's not people that aren't in that either co or elder position don't need to see that. They don't need to see people, flaking out, telling us that they're invited, telling us, what have you, endless breaking of our rules and things like that. Just like a sort of like a quarantine area would be good, and a block list. I think those are the two things that you need. Um, I don't know, because at the same time, they're talking about, there's people that are saying that they're gonna cause harm, but that can still happen when people come into chat and can still say the same toxic messages. Some people might say, well, you invited them into your clan or you accepted their invitation, but you don't know. That's the point. You don't know what you're gonna get until actually something comes out of them. So yeah, I would like a quarantine area.
Yeah, and I mean, just from that little bit, like I said, that 20 minutes at the end. I mean, obviously, I have forgotten about the stupid Clan Games thing until Clan Games probably starts again. But I mean, it's nice to see that their efforts are in areas that kind of need it. That as well. So yeah.
Good. Anything else on that?
I don't think so. I was thinking, we could probably wrap this up right away, and unless you have a can't fix stupid.
I have many can't fix stupids, Jen.
Well,
I just stored them up.
Let's hear one.
So I think I'll go with the one because you were talking about Lava Balloon and how you've always wanted to learn it. And one of the reasons why perhaps you've never learned it is because it's actually one of the most, in my opinion, one of the most strategic skilled attacks that you can do. At any Town Hall level, from Town Hall 9 up, right? It progressively gets harder as well. Learning, surgical loon, any kind of queen charge, sui la loons, whatever, right? Whatever, anything that has that loon attack. To me, that means that person who is good at it has shown, okay, I need, like you said, pro players know I need 2 loons to take out an archer tower or something like that, right? Or if I path this, I can then do this, right? So to me, it is a very strategic thing to attack to learn. So we had a 10L9 join, and we were like, okay, what can you do? How would you respond, and more, how can you attack this friendly challenge, right? And he was like failing to no end using like all sorts of spam farm armies, all crap, right? And then he's like, oh, okay, I can have a strategic attack, but with Lalun you don't gotta. And I was like, I was reading this like, is that what he means? He's meaning that Lalun is not a strategic attack? Because he was just, I think he actually thought that Lalun was like a spam attack. I mean, a lot of people do kind of just, who don't really, they just do the circle and then away you go, or the half circle loons. But I was like, that's not really what Lava Loon is, Then you do need to 3-star, like, probably, I mean, I don't know what Final 9's like now because it was quite balanced, but for Final 10, that's not going to get you 3 stars just spamming your loons. So I was like, because to me it was always, and that's the reason why you or I have not become very skilled in it, because it's really hard. To me anyway, what I've seen is really hard.
And for me, it's the time to put into it, because like it's not something that you can just, okay, I'm going to raid for 2 hours and I'm going to have a handle on it. I mean, it's something that I find it more difficult than hogs because you can predict where your heal spells are going to go with your hogs. You can see, okay, this building's here. I know I'm going to want to cover this trap area. But because the loons, I mean, they have the same sort of pathing where they're going to defenses, but it's a little bit different in that you can't really predict your spells because you don't know where all those loons, when they're going to split, when they're going to do what. and it's just your spells have to kind of be on the fly more with lots of it.
But I think you can. I think if you are good at hogs, I think you can migrate to loons. It's just obviously, I think the difference is ground versus air. You know, you're more tuned to ground. You know, I think if you use like a queen charge and split off your base, you can do the same sort of pathing and cut off your loons so that they travel in a particular way. But still, again, all of that to me is a strategic attack. It's one of the most strategic attacks, in my opinion. And if you're particularly good at it and can freestar with it consistently, I think that shows that you're actually quite skilled in that. But it's just the way that he was like, I can have a strategic attack, but with Lavaloon, you don't need any kind of strategy. And I was like, oh boy, he did not last in the clan.
No, I don't imagine.
So, yeah. But, yeah, so that's my cat bite stupid. I've got plenty more for next time.
Good. And yeah, I think that's about it for me. I don't have anything else. We kind of went through the list of what I had, and
it wasn't quite a short one.
Was it?
No, it wasn't.
No, I didn't think so.
Okay, well, I'll let you wrap up then.
Yes. So we've got our war that we're going through now. So by the time we do another one, it'll probably be in about a week's time. Just to match up our schedules, and by then clan games will start it, so we will be a little disgruntled about that again, probably.
We'll be cutting back on the recruiting.
We'll be able to see what the next few days worth of the birthday builder or birthday trader bring us, and we'll talk about that, and hopefully, we'll for sure have some more Can't Fix Stupid, because as you mentioned, we've been recruiting and they're still flying through the door right now as I'm looking into the clans. So.
You look with a sense of dread.
And so yeah, until then, we will kind of wrap things up here and talk to you later.
Bye.